Chapter 2, Immortals. As the carriage quickly rolled along the road, Wang Lin's body bounced with the uneven ground. In his arms was the package that contained all of his parents' hopes. He was leaving the village he had lived in for 15 years. The trip wouldn't be a short one. Wang Lin lied down and fell asleep in the carriage. Not knowing how much time had passed, he was gently nudged. He opened his eyes to look up to see fourth uncle, who looked at him smiling and asked, "Taiju, how do you feel about leaving home for the first time?" Inquat. Wang Lin noticed that the carriage had stopped, and smiled. "Not much to say, just a little anxious since I don't know if I will be selected by the Immortals or not." Inquat. Fourth uncle let out a laugh and patted Taizu's shoulder, saying, "Okay, don't overthink it. This is uncle's house. You go rest first, then I'll take you to the family tomorrow morning." Inquat. When he climbed off the carriage, Wang Lin was in front of a tile-roofed house. He then followed fourth uncle to a room. Wang Lin sat on the bed, unable to sleep. The things his parents, village, and relatives said flashed through his mind. He signed in his heart. The thought of becoming the disciple of an immortal became heavier in his mind. Time passed by, bit by bit. A moment later, the sun gradually rose. Wang Lin didn't get much rest the whole night, but he was still full of energy. With a trace of fear, he followed fourth uncle to the main house of the Wang family. This was the first time Wang Lin had seen a house this big, leaving him in a daze. Fourth uncle said while walking, "Taiju, you have to make your father proud. Don't let the relatives ridicule you." Inquat. Wang Lin's mind became more tense. He bit his lips and nodded. Soon, fourth uncle brought him to the middle of the courtyard. Taizu's father's eldest brother was standing there. When he saw Taiju, he nodded and said, "Taiju, when the immortal arrives, don't freak out, just follow your older brother Wang Zhou. Do everything he does." Inquat. The old man's tone was very harsh on those last few words. Wang Lin stayed silent. He looked around and noticed that beside Wang Zhou there was another youth. The youth's skin was a bit dark, his build was very large, and his eyes showed hint of intelligence. There was a bulge in his shirt, like he was hiding something. He looked at Taiju and made a face, then ran over and said, "So you're second uncle's son? My name is Wang Hao." Inquat. Wang Lin chuckled and nodded. When the old man saw Wang Lin ignoring him, he became very annoyed and was about to scold him. Right at this moment, the clouds in the sky suddenly split open. Then a sword of light suddenly descended like lightning. After the light disappeared, there stood a youth in white whose eyes were bright and piercing, emitting an elegant spirit. His cold eyes swept across the three youths, especially at the youth with the bulge in his shirt. He asked coldly, "Are these three the ones recommended by the Wang family?" Inquat. "This is an immortal?" Under his gaze, Wang Lin started to feel cold. His heart pounded and his face paled while staring at the immortal. The dark-skinned youth, upon seeing immortal, placed his hands near the pockets of his pants, showing a respectful demeanor. His eyes held a fanatical expression. Only Wang Zhou casually looked at the others and snorted. Wang Zhou's father quickly stepped forward and respectfully said, "Immortal, these three are the Wang family's recommendations." Inquat. The youth nodded and then impatiently said, "Who is Wang Zhou?" Inquat. The old man's face showed a flash of happiness, then he quickly pulled Wang Zhou. "Immortal, this is my son, Wang Zhou." Inquat. The immortal youth gave Wang Zhou a deep look. Then his face brightened and he nodded. Wang Zhou is indeed talented. No wonder martial uncle took a liking to him. Inquat. Wang Zhou proudly looked at Wang Lin and the smart-looking youth and proudly said, "This is natural. In order to become an immortal, one must have a strong spirit." Inquat. The youth made a frown, but it quickly disappeared. He faintly smiled at Wang Zhou's direction, waved his sleeves, and took the three youths on the rainbow and disappeared. Fourth uncle looked into the sky and muttered, "Taiju, you must be selected!" Inquat. Wang Lin felt his body lighten, and the wind hitting his face caused him pain. On closer inspection, he noticed that he was under the arm of the youth, and they were flying quickly through the sky. The village turned into little black dots as they quickly flew forward. After just a little, the wind caused his eyes to tear up and turn red. "Unless you three want to become blind, close your eyes," the youth said coldly. Wang Lin's heart tensed, and he quickly closed his eyes, afraid to keep looking. After a short period of time, Wang Lin could feel that the youth was short of breath and his speed started decreasing. Then, in a flash, the youth quickly descended. The moment before landing, the youth loosened his arm and the three youths fell to the ground. Thankfully, the fall wasn't hard, so the three got up quickly. In front of Wang Lin was a paradise-like scene, with mountains, flowers, and a river. It was a truly idyllic scene. Straight ahead stood a towering mountain, its peak covered in clouds that hid its true appearance. Echoes of beasts' cries could be heard. There was a path of twisted steps that snaked its way down the mountain, like a painting, evoking a feeling of a different world. Far off in the distance, there was a hall at the top of the mountain. Even though it was covered by the clouds, the shining bright light made people to want to worship it. Next to the hall, there was a silver-colored bridge with the shape of the crescent moon connecting the peak with another mountain peak. With these natural beauties, this was truly worthy of being the location of the Heng Yue sect. The Heng Yue sect was one of the few cultivation sect in the country of Zhao. 500 years ago, it was the leading force of cultivation sects in the country of Zhao and had several nascent soul-old monsters. However, with the passage of time, it had shrunken to its current size and was only able to barely have a foothold in the cultivation world. However, for the mortals near the Heng Yue sect, it was still an elusive figure. Little brother Zhang, are these the 3 candidates recommended by the Wang family? A middle-aged man dressed in black with an immortal demeanor floated down from the mountain peak. The youth showed a face full of respect and said, "Third brother, these are the Wang family's 3 recommended youths." And quote. The middle-aged man's gaze swept across them, focusing on Wang Zhou a few times. Smiling, he said, "I know you are about to have a breakthrough. I'll handle the test, you go cultivate." And quote. The youth agreed, then his body moved toward the mountain, and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin stared at the scene before him full of excitement. Suddenly, he noticed someone tugging his clothes and turned around. It was Wang Hao. Eyes filled with excitement, he said, "This is where immortals live, damn it. No matter what, I, Wang Hao, must be selected." And quote. After saying so, he touched the bulging object concealed in his shirt.